Yes. You can start, no problem.
Okay, Nini. Okay. A warm good morning to one and all present here. At its heart, engineering is about using science to find creative, practical solutions. It's a noble profession by Queen Elizabeth. Put your heart and soul into your profession for creating such unique innovations and for surprising us every day. We all have gathered here to celebrate our 54th Engineers Day.
A day without prayer is a day without blessing. Let's thank the Almighty for giving us these beautiful moments to celebrate.
കൈത്തൊഴാം ദൈവമേ കരുണ ചെയ്ക കമനീയ രൂപമേ പരമാണുവിലും പ്രാണബിന്ദുവായി പരിലസിക്കും പ്രകാശമേ കൈത്തൊഴാം ദൈവമേ കരുണ ചെയ്ക കമനീയ രൂപമേ വിശ്വനിയാത്മക നീ കുടികൊള്ളുന്നത് വിശ്വാസത്തിൽ കോവിലിനല്ലോ വിശ്വനിയാമക നീ കുടികൊള്ളുന്നത് വിശ്വാസത്തിൽ കോവിലിനല്ലോ യുക്തിയും പൂർത്തിയും തളരും നേരം മുക്തി കൊടുപ്പത് നീയല്ലോ മുക്തി കൊടുപ്പത് നീയല്ലോ കൈതൊഴാം ദൈവമേ കരുണ ചെയ്ത കമനീയ രൂപമേ.
Our tribute to Father of Indian Engineering, Bharatratna Sir M. Visvesvaraya ji, on his birthday anniversary.
First of all, I invite Reverend Dr. Jose Kanambura, the Director of Academics, Jyoti Engineering College, for welcome address.
So good morning to all of you. Here, Father Dr. Jose Kanambura. 18th of September today, we are celebrating a belated Engineers Day. Actually, the day falls on 15th of September, the birthday of Mochagundam Visvesvaraya, the Bharata Ratna Awardee. As we know, Visvesvaraya was perhaps the most eminent engineer of the modern India. And he was responsible and instrumental in bringing out a lot of new things in the first half of 20th century across India, especially in the southern part of India. So we remember there are a lot of stories to be told about Sri Mochagundam Visvesvaraya, but we, running short of time, may not be able to explain elaborately on that. Now today, as we celebrate, we do it in association with the Institution of Engineers India of its chapter in the college, and in association with the Computer Science and Engineering Department of the college. And the topic is also something very closely related to engineering, very especially exploring the possibilities of skill development, and in the background of the COVID-19. So COVID-19 has done something very disastrous to the humanity. But at the same time, looking from a different point of view, sometimes it is an eye-opener to most of the engineers and other people to do things in a different way altogether. A paradigm shift has happened. So far we were confined to the classes within the four walls of the classroom. Now it has gone beyond that, and most of the things are done online. And incidentally, even today's this conference, this meeting is held online. Otherwise it would have been inside a hall or a classroom or whatever. So it has opened up a lot of new avenues wherein we can look for new things to happen in the coming years. Now skills, a part of the engineering development, play a very, very important role. Our neighbor China is coming up in the developmental area as almost #1 across the globe. Now the most powerful aspect with which they are equipped for that is the skills area. Skill development is a very important focused area in China, and that's the reason all industries are getting accumulated over there for manufacturing, for doing everything, because the skills expertise, they are the masters of it, and they have it at a cheaper rate also. I'm not elaborating those things. So this is an area where India also can play a vital role, because our demographic dividend is very high, and in no time we will overtake China demographically, and we have the strength and we can do wonderful things. Now my main duty today is to have a welcome. So I'm here to welcome all of you. And today's chief guest, I'm just introducing, it is none other than Professor K.V. Varki Pattimattam. And his educational background I can just give you. He is a BSc Engineering Honours in 78. He took his masters from IIT Madras in 80. And then he was certified as a corporate directorship from IOD New Delhi. He is a graduate of UOP Incorporated, Illinois, USA. And he was the former managing director of Hindustan Antibiotics Limited, Pune. Then he worked with HOC Cochin as a chief general manager, worked in L&T, Pari Madras, Telk Angamali, worked as faculty in the Xavier Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship at Zaimi, Kintra in Technopark Kalamasheri, and he has got a total experience of 38 years in various dimensions. And also he was the former MD of Maharashtra Antibiotics and Pharmaceuticals Limited, Nagpur, former chairman of Hindustan Max GB Limited, Pune, and he was serving as a visiting faculty in Cochin University, BITS Pilani, MD University and others. And he had a lot of papers, national and international. So he has published around 600 articles in various newspapers, including Economic Times, New India Express, then Mathrubhumi, Manoharama, Business Deepika, Bharatama, etc. And a lot of books also, 7-8 books also he has published. And he has served as the National Joint Secretary of ECOMNet, expert panel member of the Kerala State Encyclopedic Publications. Also, he has guided MBA, MTech and MCA thesis more than 20 students from various institutions. And he was awarded Udyog Ratna Award by IES New Delhi, HR Management Award by Institute of Public Enterprises Hyderabad, Management Achievement Award by Kerala, Sahridaya Vedi Thiruvananthapuram. So in a nutshell, you could get an idea who Professor K.B. Varki Pattimetta, and definitely he is the person most apt to inaugurate and deliver a keynote address on this wonderful occasion of Engineers Day celebrated today. So, sir, Professor Varki, on behalf of the Indian Institute of Engineers India local chapter of our college chapter and the computer science department, and on behalf of the entire college, Jyoti Engineering College, Cherupirthi, and on behalf of all the people assembled, gathered here, I accord a very, very warm welcome to this wonderful session, sir. Now, also, today we have another important personality, none other than Mr. B.S. Shankaranarayanan, Fellow of Institution of Engineers. He is the Chairman of Institution of Engineers India Local Center, Trichy. He had been former CMD of FACT, and he was serving a lot of other areas. Sir, on behalf of the entire people connected through the internet, on this celebration of the Engineers Day, I accord a wonderful welcome to this audience, sir. Now, I'm here to welcome all the other the principal of the college who is presiding over this meeting, Dr. Sunny Joseph Kalayathankal. Professor Dr. Sunny, I most cordially welcome you to this wonderful session. Now, here we have a lot of other people, Professor Dr. Vijay Kumar, Professor Saju, and so many others, all the HODs, senior faculty members, and many others. And moreover, there are a good number of students also who have joined this. Still few more are getting connected to this one. And I wish all the professors, all the faculty members, all the students and all the best, and welcome all of you to this wonderful session wherein Professor Varki will be delivering the keynote address and will inaugurate the session. Once again, welcoming you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father.
Next, I invite Dr. Sunny Joseph Kalayathankal, Principal of Jyoti Engineering College, for Presidential Address.
Sir, your
Principal sir, mic off on. Principal sir, mic on.
Respected Chief Guest, Professor Varki Pattimetta, our Academic Director, Reverend Dr. Jose Kannambulla, Mr. Shankaranarayanan, IEI Trichur Chapter, Computer Science HOD, Dr. Saju P. John, Dr. Vijay Kumar, HODs, Deans, faculty members, and my dear students. Good morning to all. September 15 is celebrated as Engineers Day in India. This is to remember Bharat Ratna Dr. M. Visvesvaraya, the greatest engineer in India. He was instrumental in constructing several dams, bridges, and was also involved in implementing irrigation and drinking water scheme. As we know, engineers are the nation builders. Engineers contribute to the development of civil, mechanical, electrical, electronics, and computer science field. Also, new inventions in artificial intelligence and robotics will improve the living conditions of people around the world. Researchers and engineers working together on a common platform. Scientists observe the world, while engineers focus on creating. Actually, engineers are the best creators in the world. Researchers found results, engineers implement that result. Both engineers and scientists need a strong knowledge of science, mathematics, and technology, but engineers tend to apply these principles to designing creative solutions. Engineers find an appropriate solution to an issue using their knowledge in science and logic. There are always multiple reasonable solutions that exist. There are so many feasible solutions exist. Any solution, any feasible solution, that solution which maximize or minimize is called optimum feasible solution. Engineers find the optimum feasible solution. Today, world around was struggling in live under the COVID pandemic. So, all engineers must think in the direction of what we can contribute to the current situation. In Jyoti Engineering College, academic activity and student activity has been systematically implemented in online mode using the latest online technologies. But still, the students failed to get practical exposure to instruments. So I request all students to do maximum in the coming days to acquire skills and knowledge about the types of equipment of your stream. I express our sincere gratitude to the Chief Guest, Professor Varki Patimattam, former MD, Hindustan Antibiotics Limited, for accepting our invitation. I request all engineering students to study hard with commitment and dedication to excel in your professional life and personal life. I wish Engineers Day greeting to all of you on behalf of the management and the principal of Jyoti Engineering College. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Science is about knowing, engineering is about doing. By Sir M. Visvesvaraya. 15th of September is celebrated as Engineers Day as a tribute to one the finest and first engineers India had produced. In remembrance of his birthday, Institution of Engineers, India of Jyoti Engineering College, in association with Computer Science Department and Engineering, give tribute to this legend. Now let's watch it.
Today is indeed a very happy and auspicious day for engineers, today being the Engineers Day. Scientists unravel the world around us, and in fact engineers create a new world. The question is, whose world should it be, the new world that is created? Our great engineer and one of the finest engineering minds of our country, Visvesvaraya, was in fact a person who answered that through his life by creating a world which was actually where everyone had a role to play and everyone's life was touched upon. So we are celebrating the great legacy of this great man through Engineers Day. I think in India as well as I think in Sri Lanka too, September 15th is the Engineers Day. On this day, I welcome all the dignitaries present here, and I request our academic director, Joe Sachin, to garland him as a mark of our deep respect towards the great soul. Thank you.
Let's hear the IA Anthem of Engineers Day now.
विश्वेश्वरैया जी के आदर्शों को मिलकर करें नमन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। जोड़े नदियाँ सेतु बनाए, शहर गाँव का भेद मिटाए। तकनीकी शिक्षा का दीपक विश्व के हर कोने में जलाए। ऊर्जा के अक्षय स्रोतों से मरुस्थल को भी करें चमन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। अनवरत प्रशिक्षण से हम अपनी कार्य कुशलता बढ़ाएं। यातायात संचार में उन्नत प्रौद्योगिकी को अपनाएं। नैसर्गिक हो या औद्योगिक आपदाओं का करें शमन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। विश्वेश्वरैया जी के आदर्शों को मिलकर करें नमन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन। आओ अभियंतागण हम सब न भारत का करें सृजन।
Now, let's have a look at the entries received for our poster design competition held in association with Engineers Day.
Here comes the result for the poster design competition. First prize goes to Elvin Rafe, S2 Robotics. Second prize goes to Jane Verghese, Power Electronics S2 PG. Third prize goes to Anne Maria Rajan, S4 ECE.
So now it's time for our inauguration. With most privilege, I invite our chief guest, Professor K.V. Varki Pattimattam, former Managing Director of Hindustan Antibiotics Limited, Pune, for the inaugural address.
Very, very good morning to the dignitaries in the online platform. Since I am going to meet you for the theme presentation after a few minutes, I think I am not making a speech now. because my views on the Engineers Day will be expressed in my theme talk. Hence, with the pleasure, I am inaugurating the Engineers Day celebrations, and we will meet you after a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I invite Mr. Shashidharan Ajari MN, MI Honorary Secretary, IEI, Local Center Thrissur, for felicitation.
Thank you. Is it audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Audible.
Okay. Good morning to all. Good morning to all dignitaries, faculty members, and students of Jyoti Engineering College. First of all, let me thank the organizers of the function for inviting Thrissur Local Center of IAE for the 54th Engineers Day celebrations. Engineer V.D. Shankaranan, FI, was supposed to be present for the function today. Unfortunately, he has to attend some urgent family matters. He is traveling now. So the burden comes to my head. So I am Shashidharan MN, the Honorary Secretary of Thrissur Local Center. Jyoti Engineering College and Thrissur Local Center of IAE is maintaining good relationship. Jyoti Engineering College is an institutional member of IAE, and they have students chapters. So interactions are frequent. I came to know that they are going to extend the students chapters to other divisions also. Dear engineers, Sir M. Visheshariya was a man of great vision and pioneer in the field of bold imagination and successful execution. He rendered meritorious and selfless contribution to the motherland. He laid strong foundations to economic and industrial developments for our country. Sir M. Visheshariya was born in 1821 in Mokshagundam family at Kolar in pre-independent Mysore state. After his formal education, he joined for engineering at the College of Science in Pune. He completed his studies with the flying colors and attained the first rank. He joined the Bombay PWD as assistant engineer and rose to the level of chief engineer. He worked hard for the betterment of the common man. The Maharaja of Mysore has appointed him as the Diwan of Mysore state with the concurrence of the British rulers. He is the first engineer who has been appointed to the top of the administrative services in India. Government of India has honored him by awarding the Bharat Ratna Award in 1955. After celebrating his birthday centenary, he died in 1962 at the age of 102. In 1966, the Council of Institutes of Engineers decided to observe September 15, the birthday of M. Visheshariya, as the Engineers Day. Every year, September 15 is being celebrated in all over India by all the state centers and local centers, comes to 125 total, with the selected theme as decided by the council. This year, the theme is Engineers for Skill Development and Employment in Combating COVID. On 15th of this year, headquarters has celebrated the Engineers Day. Thrissur Local Center has celebrated the Engineering Day by honoring the Samaritans of the COVID-19 in the afternoon of 15th September. 4 students from various institutions and engineering college have participated, and we have honored them with the certificate specifically designed by the headquarters. I wish all the young engineers of Jyoti Engineering College a bright and successful life in future. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Here comes the awaited moment of our event. I invite our Chief Guest Professor K.V. Varki Pattimattam for giving his valuable thoughts on the theme Engineers for Skill Development and Employment in Combating COVID. Now, over to you, sir.
Very good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay. So I am very happy to be here with you on this auspicious day of Engineers Day. And I welcome all of you to the presentation on Engineers for Skill Development and Employment. I request you to show me the first slide. Now the second slide. On this occasion, I will be dealing with the multiple roles to be played and being played by engineers all over the world. Not only for combating COVID, but for prevention of COVID, and how to manage the post-COVID situation by providing proper employment and causing industrial growth and overall welfare of humanity. Here we will be discussing the future of work and the skill needed for the post-pandemic era, and what are the skill gaps which has to be identified, how it can be filled, and what are the opportunities awaiting us, what is the action plan for encashing those situations for the growth of humanity and for the growth of our country and career growth of each individual engineers. Now coming to, please the next slide, please. So the theme is Engineers for Skill Development and Employment in Combating COVID. Actually, combating COVID is the primary duty of health workers. They are in the forefront. But engineers are very much at the background. They can do a lot to support the health workers to combat pandemic like COVID. This is because nowadays you find hospitals are filled by more engineers and less doctors. Why? Because a lot of technology is being used for treatments. Lot of equipments are there in every hospital, and the number and the complexity of instruments and testing facilities are increasing. And the opinions of doctors are based on the data received from the instruments. So the accuracy and capability of the instruments are equally important to the expertise of doctors. As a result, a lot of the conventional work of diagnosing are undertaken by instruments, and the number of doctors can come down in future. Not only for diagnosing, if you go to the operation theater, as the robotic surgery become prevalent, one doctor can conduct so many operations in a day. As a result, the number of doctors will come down and the number of engineers will go up because a lot of robots will be at work, which requires a lot of maintenance and calibration and all sort of things. Another area for engineers to contribute to this aspect is research and development. You know, with the help of information technology, research has become easy and faster. Now the emerging areas of chemoinformatics and pharmacoinformatics, which I am familiar with since I spend a lot of time with the pharmaceutical industry and chemical industry. There are other areas also where engineers can contribute a lot. But here it is more relevant. That's why I'm quoting these examples. In chemoinformatics, chemical experiments can be conducted by simulation in a very efficient manner and faster also. This is more helpful in developing new medicines. In this aspect, I would elaborate a little bit what is going on behind launching a new medicine in the market. Lot of molecules are invented by scientists in the laboratories, out of which some may be useful for therapeutic purposes. But a lot of intensive studies are to be conducted regarding the effectiveness, side effects, and the other aspects. It takes a lot of time and a lot of money is involved. Why? Because this is going to be administered into human body and we cannot risk human life for new things. So there is a strong regulatory mechanism for developing new medicines and launching it in the market. You may be wondering, on an average, 50,000 crores of rupees are spent over a period of 10 to 15 years before launching a new medicine in the market. How it is happening? Because suppose there are 100 molecules are invented. There are a lot of stages through which it comes to the market for final launching. If there are 100 molecules, only 2 or 3 may be finally reaching the market. All the research and development expenses spent for the other 98 molecules also will be allocated to the successful molecule. That is why the prices of new medicines are very high. And the research and development organizations and industries are allowed to do so by giving them for a period of 20 years for a patent. Within those 20 years, they have to take back whatever they have spent, huge amounts they have spent for development of such medicines. This branch of informatics is called pharmacoinformatics, and there are a lot of employment scope and research opportunities in pharmacoinformatics. How this information technology is accelerating, and the one thing is that, for example, in the traditional research, if an experiment takes 14 days to get a result, especially in antibiotics research and all, normally an experiment takes 14 days. But by applying simulation techniques of information technology, it can be shortened to a few hours so that research become faster, cost will come down. Similarly, we can make replicas of human organs and human body, electronic models, And many experiments, at least in the preliminary stage, can be done on these electronic models. It is called in silico studies. The actual study in human body is called in vitro studies. So a lot of in vitro studies can be replaced by in silico studies, which results in a lot of time saving and cost saving. What happens? What is the final result? The cost of development of a new medicine will come down, so that the cost of medicines will come down. It will reach faster to the public. Another area is clinical trials. Once a medicine is developed, basically there are 3 levels of clinical trials. First level will be in the animals. Second level will be for a limited population of patients. Third level will be for a larger sample. All these clinical trials will take a lot of time and a lot of procedures and a lot of authorities are there to control. The Indian Pharmacopeia, this US FDA, and this European agency, all are controlling, and their license is required for launching a medicine in the market. These processes will be accelerated by reducing the time, and risk is also reduced, because instead of conducting the preliminary test in actual human body, you are doing it in a computer model, so that computer, even if the computer goes bad, there is no problem, but we cannot afford with losing a human life. Another thing is, everybody knows research involves a lot of data analysis. And in pharmaceutical research, the quantum of data is too high. So the latest information technology techniques on data analytics will be very helpful for pharmaceutical research, especially in research on antibiotic resistance, etc. Next slide, please. So these are the areas where engineers can contribute for combating and preventing and treating pandemics like COVID. But engineers can do a lot to prevent the outburst of pandemics. There we have to look into the root cause of disasters like a pandemic. Beyond doubt, it is established that the basic reason of all these kind of disasters are the environmental issues emerged in the 20th century and 21st century. What happened during Industrial Revolution? A lot of new technologies were there, and a lot of industries were established, and a lot of profit-making companies were emerged. Profit was the only motive. And people were ignorant about the dangers caused by the industries to the environment. Those days it was not that relevant also, because number of industries were not much, and the world population was very less when compared to the present world population. Hence, little impact to the environment was not affecting the world population because their number was less. When things changed in the 20th century, huge industries sprawled up all over the world, giving a lot of affluence, resulting in ozone depletion, atmospheric pollution, water pollution, and whatnot. Then people woke up. Engineers started thinking about new technologies to fight environmental pollution, pollution-free technologies, and safe processes for manufacturing. all these things became important. A paradigm shift has happened from profit making to people, planet, and process. And profit was the last item. Any industry, any process, any technology has to be people friendly. It has to be studied how it is going to affect the people, how it is going to affect the earth, how safe it is. All the things were gaining importance in the past century. So developing such human-friendly technologies are the responsibility of engineers, and thereby they can prevent the outburst of future calamities like COVID or other pandemics. In this direction, engineers really did their work, and now the best example is renewable energy. In the place of fossil fuels, coal, and hydroelectric projects, very cost effectively, solar energy is establishing all over the world. Now in India also, with a per unit cost of less than 2 rupees, we are able to generate gigawatts and gigawatts of electricity, and we are going ahead. As long as we are blessed with the sunlight, there will not be dearth of energy for us. New technologies are coming up to make it cheaper and more efficient. Another area is the advent of information technology, where this artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain technology, etc. are being in the advanced stage. It is going to help and affect all the walks of life, and it can be utilized for development of vaccines and new medicines to fight with pandemic like COVID, etc. Next slide, please. So engineers can help fighting COVID. They can prevent pandemics. That will happen, it is happening. But after that, what? People have to work, earn, and live comfortable. There we have to see what is the future of work. The post-COVID economy, shape of post-COVID economy. How people are going to work. Now, after this, during this COVID situation, the world is undergoing a total change. Everybody knows it. The work at home, also called remote working, has become prevalent. And so tomorrow, the skill requirement will be different. The way of working will be different. The requirements will be different. A lot of studies are being conducted on that aspect. It requires a lot of new technologies, new processes to bridge the skill gap. And hyper automation is happening in a faster manner. Automation was happening, but now it is faster. That is the difference. Now, dark factories are coming up in many places of the world. What are dark factories? In dark factories, there is no lighting. Only minimal lighting will be there. Why light is required in a factory? Because a lot of people are moving around. Machines do not need light. If there are no people, what is the need of light? In the highly automated, hyper-automated industries, the manufacturing process, the purchasing process, the material handling process, everything is automated. Very few human beings are required, maybe at the managerial level. So movement of people are very, very less. Hence, big walkways are not required. Lighting is not required. Only minimal lighting will be required. These kind of factories are called dark factories. That darkness itself make it more efficient because you are saving energy by not lighting the factory. Next slide, please. So what is going to happen in the post-COVID world? Everybody can imagine, it is common sense only. But unless it is studied systematically and established, consultants have come out with facts and figures after detailed study so that it can be accepted to the whole world. So I am going to refer to two studies. One is none other than McKinsey. They have conducted a very detailed study in 8 major countries in the world, which represents 52% of the world population. Naturally, India is included in that list of 8. What they found is that 25% more workers will be changing the occupation in a few years' time. Already people are changing occupation because of the natural advancement of technologies. Now that rate will be increased by 25%. Another finding is that they have quantified the fall in business travel. 20% business travel will be avoided in the post-pandemic scenario. And as everybody knows, the e-commerce, remote working, and hyper-automation, artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D printing, all these technologies will be growing. But what they find is that it will not grow in the natural speed. It will be growing faster because of the changed scenario. Because of remote working, 30% less office space will be required in future. What does it mean? A lot of travel will be avoided. The real estate market will come down. A lot of construction activities will not happen. It will have a cascading effect on other industries, which is supporting construction industry by providing materials and services. As far as e-commerce is concerned, McKinsey is estimating 500% growth. And they predict that, even if without their prediction, it is our common sense only, that more jobs will be in healthcare and STEM. What is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Because a lot of technological developments are happening, the STEM sector also will be providing more jobs in future. Another observation is the low-wage jobs at the lower level, because most of the routine jobs will be automated. More jobs will be lost in the lower level. At higher levels, the job reduction will be less. What does it mean? The bottom of the pyramid, that is the most number of people are working in the lower levels. So unless they are rehabilitated in other jobs, it will be a social disaster, and God only knows what will happen. So steps are to be taken to re-employ them There lies the relevance of reskilling, upskilling, and giving training to all these people and utilize them. Another observation of McKinsey is that there will be a lot of scope for digital infrastructure business. That everybody knows, when this usage of information technology is increasing, there is a lot of business opportunities for developing, providing IT services, IT infrastructure, equipments, design, devices, and services. Another study conducted by Gartner, also in the same line, so I am not repeating, but they have what is special with their study is they argue for more flexibility. Flexibility for the human beings, flexibility for manufacturing facilities, because technology is changing. So factories should be made in a flexible manner. If one product goes out of market, it should be capable of taking up the next level products. They also observed that there will be more contingency workers and less regular workers. Presently, if suppose 1,000 people are working in an industry, 100 or 200 will be casual workers. Majority will be regular workers. This situation will change in future because the technology's life is very less. One technology may last for maximum 5 or 10 years. If somebody is specialized in that technology, after 10 years, he may not be able to cope up with the upcoming technology. So they want specialists who is ready with the new technology that time. So gone are the days, if you qualify at the age of 20 in one area, we can work with that background another 30 or 40 years. Because the changes are faster. In this situation, training on multiple skills and roles at the education, the college level itself, somebody should be trained in multiple skills so that they have more sustainability. Not only that, they should be continuously trained later on to be expert in the upcoming technologies. That is why design, whether it is technology design or social design, the focus of design has changed from efficiency to resilience. Efficiency should be always there, but more importance is to be given for resilience. That is, whatever dynamic changes happens in the market or in the society or in the technological world, the people, process, and the factories should be able to adapt to that situation and exist. These are the changes envisaged by Gartner. Next slide, please. So from this above these observations, what we are finding is that we have to identify the growth sectors, upcoming growth sectors, so that we can gear up our present generation to encash from the future scenario. Anybody can guess the growth areas, but I have listed some of the areas for your thought and discussion. One is, of course, EduTech, educational technology. Now, education is moving from classroom to bedroom or drawing room. The mode of education is changing. It requires a lot of technology and technological devices, software packages, networks. All these requirements will go up. And this course delivery like MOOCs. Another area is that money transaction is going from physical to digital. So all the banks and financial institutions require a lot of technology. That is called fintech. So in fintech area, lot of scope is there for technological qualified people. That is why even 10 years back, our banks have started recruiting more and more engineers. And the general bank workers, number of the general bank workers are coming down. Now it is replaced by engineers. Then now as far as entertainment is concerned, entertainment is coming from theaters to your drawing room or bedroom. What is the impact? There will be a lot of scope for OTT and online gaming and such kind of artistical, digital arts and all. Then of course, now we are all using more e-commerce and retailing, online trading, all are coming up. And as a result of all this, you require more cyber security. More and more people are involved in utilizing information technology, and the volume of information technology activities are increasing. The cyber security aspect also gain importance because there are people to conduct frauds, hacking, cracking, and whatnot. Another area is that I already told you that the number of regular workers, permanent jobs will come down, but at the same time, freelancing opportunities will be increased. Sitting at home, if you have got the talent, you can encash on it. Some of the areas are content creation, content writing, technical writing, and copywriting, all this web-based and writing brochures for the companies. All those things are now done by freelance people. Very few permanent workers will be there. Then another area is fashion technology, then graphics, then a lot of coding works are coming even from other countries to our country on a contract basis. You will be paid based on the quantum of work you've done. So when this kind of lifestyle is going to be prevalent, there will be a lot of development in the field of robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain technology, 5G technologies, all those things. I don't have to elaborate to information technology department people on the importance and what is happening in these areas presently and in future. So I'm not discussing much on that. Then of course, opportunities, as we have already discussed, healthcare and medical technology. Healthcare, of course, they are the frontline workers for healthcare. But medical technology, as I said, now the number of engineers are going to be increased in hospitals than doctors. So a lot of new techniques are coming up in the medical technology. By 3D printing, we are able to create replicas of human organs and these transplants, bone transplants. All these things can be precisely made by 3D printing. Another area where more jobs are going to be available is the HR. You may be thinking when the number of people are less, how the HR scope is increasing. Because so far there were only human beings and machines in an industry, and they have to allocate people for the machines. Now they have to decide which job is to be done by machine, which job has to be done by people. Who has to sit at home for working, who has to come to the office, how often, when, all those things. There are a lot of complexities in the HR scenario, which requires more HR expertise. And in the changing scenario, a lot of legal confusions will be there because this is a new normal people have not familiar with. So legal profession also has got a lot of scope. Next slide, please. So we have seen what is going to happen in the technology, the society in future. Where are the opportunities and how to gear up to be successful in those world. So first thing is the bridging skill gaps. First of all, we have to identify what are the skills required for the, maybe and after 5 years, what are the skills required in industries and employers? What are the skills available? Then we will get the skill gap. That gap is to be filled so that everybody gets reasonable employment and reasonable salary. That is regarding students. What about the existing employees? They have some experience, but their expertise is not at all required in future. They can be trained with the new technologies in a very cost-effective manner. They have already have some experience with them. For that, techniques are to be developed, systems are to be formed, and technology has to be utilized for that. That is where the augmented reality, virtual reality, and all other kind of new technologies has to be used for training the students as well as the employees. So we are talking much about information technology, but information technology cannot create wheat or paddy. Food is required for all. So agriculture has to be encouraged. Then only people can eat in future. But agriculture has become unattractive because there people have to work in the mud. New generation is not ready to do that. Can we stop eating? For that, engineers are to be geared up to develop user-friendly technologies to do agriculture in a very efficient manner, giving a very high yield and very in a comfortable environment. Of course, it is happening. A lot of agricultural technology improvements are happening, but still, in the post-pandemic era, we have to concentrate on those areas also. Then, as we have already pointed out, this medical technologies, new devices, and new transplants, all has to be developed. This telemedicine, medical tourism, all these things require a lot of technologies so that treatment will become fast, efficient, and cheaper, because one cannot spend too much, the entire savings of their life for treatments. And there comes the social issues of high technology. When machines are doing most of the jobs, people are idle. So idle mind is whose workshop? Devil's workshop. So what? That will create a lot of psychological problems, social implications. The people have to be engaged, and a lot of the technologists have to play a lot major role in solving those things, along with the social scientists and administrators. In the next slide, we will see how to implement the strategies. Anyway, coming to the actual action plan. The one with strategy which is becoming popular is blended learning. Blended learning is the combination of academic studies, the conventional academic study, and acquiring the skills required for the present day. For example, a computer science graduate, during the course or immediately after the course, he can do some certificate courses or some online courses. Now a lot of online courses are available. This is a MOOC, massive open online courses. Many of them are free. So if somebody learn the fundamentals from the college and learn some extra knowledge in the area they need from other sources, they will be employed by the businesses which utilize their talent. There is an anomaly regarding blended learning. That is, sunlight is good, everybody enjoys it. Mist is cool, everybody likes it. Both are good. But if sun and mist are happening together, we get a better thing called a rainbow. So we have to create a rainbow out of sun and mist so that everybody will be happy. For that, blended learning is utilized. Another strategy is the changing style of research. Traditionally, somebody will be doing post-graduation in one course. Then he will be selecting a narrow field in that particular post-graduation and do some research, present a paper, thesis, and there ends the research. He will be an expert. Such experts are called domain experts. But to utilize that knowledge for the society, you have to involve other people. You have to involve these social science, ergonomics, linguistics, psychological experts regarding how to utilize the technology for the goodness of the humanity. Best example is mobile phone. It involves very sophisticated technology. But you see how user-friendly it is presented in the market so that even illiterate people can utilize it. It can be utilized in Malayalam, Tamil, Hindi, not only in English. All these things, and it is very handy. It can be kept in your pocket. You can see all those things. You can create videos. Also, these engineers alone cannot do all these things. You have to involve, it is a combined effort of all these experts in all the fields. So that is called a collaborative research. So collaborative research has to be encouraged so that better outcomes come. And of course, the collaborators cannot create, invent new technologies just like that. The sophisticated technology behind mobile phones. So some people should be dedicated to domain research also. So both should be simultaneously encouraged, and there should be a combined effort of both kind of scientists and researchers to deliver better products and better processes for the welfare of the human beings. Another area is the automation and employment. When the automation comes, how the new technologies can be adopted and how low-cost, user-friendly products and processes can be developed so that everybody is employed in some way or other and they are becoming useful to the society. Then coming back to our country, now there is a golden chance for Indian engineers to shine in the world and to capture the world. So I am remembering at the Y2K days in the year 1998 and 1999, etc. Initially, I wrote an article in Malayalam Manorama regarding the upcoming problem of Y2K. They did not publish it for 4 months. Again and again, they were asking, is it going to happen, such a huge business opportunity all over the world? It is going to, how can it happen? The IT engineers are so foolish, all those things. But finally, when other English papers started publishing articles on that, my article also was published. And you know what happened later. All over the world, thousands of crores of rupees business came. There was a lot of shortage of engineers. and Indian engineers were at a high demand. All over the world, they flew and done the work. And then only the value of Indian IT engineers were established in the world. Now the situation has changed. India is the leaders in software, but only in software. We have to grab the opportunities in hardware. And networking, all these areas, because I had been the head of the IT department in a public sector undertaking for 25 years. What I learned from the IT giants who are earning a lot of money is that companies like IBM, they have got their own hardware. They have got the software packages which works well in their hardware. And for their software, every year they have to, they used to take license fees. Every year they take AMC, annual maintenance charges. And every change in the software, they charge on customization charge. The hardware and software is upgraded every year. So all the existing customers will be tempted and prompted to buy them. And this kind of, and finally it is like a marriage. We cannot easily part with them because we are already committed with them. So we will, as far as possible, we will continue with the same company for our disrupted business continuity. So this is called sustainable monopoly. So such companies cannot be spoiled that easily. And they will have strong R&D. And because of their prosperity, better people will stick on with the company and such companies will grow. So we have to concentrate on hardware area also so that our monopoly can be established in the world. Another opportunity I find is the frugality which is going to happen at the pandemic era because a lot of money is lost, a lot of business opportunities are lost, so that even the rich countries will be forced to give their IT contracts to third world countries where expertise is there. India is the number one place they can find out in that area. Another observation is that because of this pandemic situation, the 5G launching is not happening in the way it was envisaged earlier. So here we are getting a breathing time. Our researchers and IT experts can gain competence in 5G technologies and we can be the leaders in 5G. And 5G, as you know, it is going to be successful in the above the technologies which we have already discussed, especially in this autonomous vehicles, which is going to capture the world in future. 5G is very important. So Indians can gain expertise in 5G by this time. Another difference I'm feeling is that so far the IT opportunities were grabbed by the big giants, major companies. But the kind of technologies which are coming up nowadays, even an expert individual, even students are coming up with their startups and they're capturing the market. If they are viable and useful business idea and technology is there are people to encourage it. Then comes, so this is a very good opportunity for the small and medium enterprises of India and the startups. A lot of areas are there. We need not be under the umbrella of a very big company. And of course, other than the business scope within India, a lot of opportunities are going to be there for the Indian engineers to go abroad and work for the IT companies all over the world. Once more, the IT spring is going to bless us. Let us try to grab these opportunities. We show the next and the last slide. So we have seen what is going to happen in future, how to grab the opportunities, how our people can encash those opportunities. And change was always happening, and the disasters are nothing new. There were a lot of disasters in the history. There were a lot of changes in technology, but the difference is that now the speed is more for change in technology. So we have to be more dynamic and alert. That is the only difference. But if you go to history, during all these times, engineers were the prime movers of change. Any change, engineers come with a new technology, faster, efficient technologies to cope up with the new situation. So we shall overcome these problems. New pandemics may come. Let us prevent it, but still it may come. But be ready to fight with it and to grow with the new normal. We have to be more concerned about the humans and ecology. That means, what I mean is, engineers are changing. Engineers have to change. It is a must. I remember a few lines written by a poet who is a non-engineer. Some 20-25 years back, he is Dr. Ayyappa Panikkar. He has written that, Emartya Kallalla Maramallirumballa Undenjiniyarkam Kannunkadum. Emartya Kallalla Maramallirumballa Undenjiniyarkam Kannunkadum. Yes, he envisaged that. He wanted engineers should have ears to hear and take feedback. They should have eyes to see what is happening in the society. So earlier engineers were supposed to have only brains. Now engineers should have ears and eyes. That is, he was a visionary poet. So with this, I also want to convey this message to you. It is happening of course, the last 20-25 years. Any new technology is very much aware of the people and the planet. And let us go ahead with the same scenario, with the same principle, and grow with the nature. We have to do a lot and win. Engineers have to act fast to win the world. And Indian engineers especially, they have got more responsibility, not only to India, to the entire mankind. You engineers, I wish all the best for the coming years. I'm thanking very much for the authorities for giving this opportunity. Wish you all happy Engineers Day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the informative section. A feedback link regarding the section is given in the message box. So I request everyone, please fill the form.
Next, I invite Dr. Saju P. John, Head of Computer Science and Engineering Department, for vote of thanks.
Respected dignitaries and dear participants, so I have assigned the duty to propose the vote of thanks in today's function. So today we have with us Professor K.V. Varkey Pattimattam. So as he concluded in his theme talk, engineers are the prime movers of changes, and he pointed out the importance of user-friendly technology, developing user-friendly technology, and he insisted the need of reskilling, upskilling, and multi-skilling. So I'm sure the session was very much informative, and it's a great motivation to all the budding engineers as well as to the entire engineering fraternity. So on behalf of the entire Jyoti family, I would like to extend my wholehearted gratitude to Professor K.V. Varkey Pattimattam for being with us today and delivered an excellent talk for us. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you. Next, I would like to thank Mr. Shashidharan MN, is the Honorable Secretary of IEI Trichur Local Center. He accepted our invitation and being with us today, and he shared the views of the local center Trishur. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for being with us today. Next, I would like to thank our CEO, Father Roy Vadakan, in his absence. He is the administrative head and leading visionary of Jyoti Engineering College. So I would like to thank Father Roy Vadakan in his absence. Next, we have with us Reverend Dr. Jose Kanampura, the academic director of Jyoti Engineering College. He is really a motivator to all the faculty. So on behalf of everyone assembled here, I would like to extend my wholehearted gratitude to Reverend Dr. Jose Kanampura. Thank you, Father. Thank you for being with us today. Next, I would like to thank our beloved principal, Dr. Sunny Joseph. He is the academic leader and always instrumental in leading the academic activities. So on behalf of everyone here, I'm extending my wholehearted gratitude to Dr. Sunny Joseph also. Next, I would like to thank the vice principal, head of departments, the senior professors, faculty members, and last but not least, I would like to thank all the participants and students who work behind this for making this program and a grand success. A word of gratitude to the organizers also, the members who work behind this, have conducted the same in a professional manner. So thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Jyoti.
you, sir.
Let's raise a for national anthem.
मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्कल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल गायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Hope everyone have filled the feedback link given in the chat box. So now it's time to wind up our program. Thank you everyone for your valuable time and attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.